This is Fusebox number 174, Mental Health Hammer. And you look like you could use a little light sanding.
Yeah, just on the edges there, you know, where those antlers are popping out. Tell you, it must be hell wearing hats. Hello, friends. Welcome in to this, the 174th edition of Fusebox, forcefully entitled Mental Health Hammer. And we'll get into all that soon enough. I am your fueled by rage but driven by an uncanny need to play mahjong host, Mark Rose, and over there, always prepared with a six-pack of ball-peen sonic hammers, is the chief architect of Amplitude, Milk Canes, everybody.
Well, thank you kindly. Hell, man, if it's a six-pack, I'm in.
Yeah, I know that about you.
So, is it me, or is there just this wave of rage going on out there? I read a report that gun violence in Portland just over the last year has gone up 400%.
Yeah, I seem to recall reading that too. I really do. I think it's this pandemic has really just tested the patience and livelihoods, certainly, of everybody. And the nerves are just a little more than frayed right now.
I know we have a couple of stories that back that up, but man, it's like, cool down, folks. We're finally seeing the end of this thing.
Yeah, but isn't that always the way? I mean, you hear countless stories of people either giving up or breaking down right just before the story actually changes for them. It's an odd pattern, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're about 68% vaccinated out here.
Yep.
So the Gov says as soon as we hit that magic 70%, we're opening things back up.
Well, it's truly a good thing for so many folks. It's been like holding your breath for 16 months.
Of course, you work in a vacuum. So there was...
Yeah. I for one, wasn't really as affected as many, as I do tend to work down here in a hole in the dark most of the time.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I was wondering if some of the side effects of vaccination might be just, ramping people up,
Well, that's not really as crazy as it might seem, Mr. Caines.
Well, thank you.
Seriously, no, it's not a conspiracy thing. It's not that there was some like foreign substance in the vaccine that makes you whack back crazy, but the reaction to a foreign substance in the body does start a series of defense mechanisms that can put you through some strange changes physically.
Antlers.
Well, not sure about that, but certainly feeling dragged out or maybe even a bit feverish. Certainly sore limbs, are a potential discomfort. These are the normal things that happen when the body is on alert, so to speak, and can really drive that irritation.
Yeah, I had nothing.
Yeah?
Got the J&J poke and really no side effects at all to speak of. Although, I did have a craving for those porn dogs from Suicide Sally's.
Are they open yet?
Just takeout,
yeah.
I think.
Well, you know what? It'll be good to get back to some of the more regular haunts.
Can't get there soon enough for me, bro.
Yeah. Well, speaking of brains on a stick, a solution to getting us back to normal climate balance-wise seems like a no-brainer, at least to Representative Louie Gohmert, Republican from Texas. During a House hearing, Representative Gohmert quite handily stumped a top Bureau of Land Management agency official, and most of us as well, by asking her about the Forest Service's capabilities to perhaps relocate certain celestial bodies. I was informed by the past director of NASA that they have found that the moon's orbit is changing slightly, and so has the Earth's orbit around the sun. Is there anything that the National Forest Service can do to change the course of the moon's orbit or the Earth's orbit around the sun? Obviously, that would have profound effects on our climate, he said.
Oh, man.
Exactly the same effect it had on Jennifer Eberling, Associate Deputy Chief of the Forest Service, a part of the Agriculture Department that manages about 193 million acres around the country, about the area of Texas, I guess. It's also good to note that the Bureau of Land Management is actually part of the Interior Department, which has absolutely nothing to do with the space agency. So there was a noticeable pause from the associate deputy when she diplomatically stated, "I would have to follow up with you on that one, Mr. Gohmert," and she chuckled slightly. "Well, if you figure out a way that you and the Forest Service can make that change, I'd like to know," Gohmert said.
Well, maybe check with accounting, too. They may have an idea.
Yeah. Maura Bajah, an astrodynamics expert and professor at the University of Texas at Austin, called Gohmert's suggestion, quote, crazy and as feasible as making the sun rise in the west. Satirical or not, Jha went on to say, to hear someone in a position of such power make statements that are blatantly dismissive of science, well, makes me a bit nervous.
Maybe we ought to put old Louie in orbit. Just to check things out for us.
I'm sure that's been suggested, Mr. Keynes. But old Louie here has a penchant for the harebrained, it would appear. Gohmert has repeatedly downplayed the January 6th attack on the Capitol and has also spread unsubstantiated claims about the coronavirus. Last year, he said he didn't need to wear a mask because he was getting tested regularly.
Yeah, I think it's time to drop the mental health hammer on old Louie.
Yeah, perhaps that will get all your marbles in one place. Okay? Yeah. Oh, I'm not sure you saw this one, but...
Safe bet I didn't.
Well then, you shall be amused and delighted when you learn that human remains believed to date back more than 10,000 years were recently found just yards away from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's California mansion.
Oh, the former contractors.
Perhaps. Well, the royals tend to be a bit picky, You know what I mean? Anyway, the very old bones were uncovered during landscaping construction a week or two ago on a road next to the Royals' $19 million Montecito complex. The remains appeared to belong to a, quote, young adult, officials said.
Oh, it's probably a roofer then.
Yeah. Preliminary findings from a forensic anthropologist brought in to assist investigators indicate the bones could be from the Chumash people who lived in the area for nearly 11,000 years, the report said. Until we have an official opinion from the forensic anthropologist, we're not going to be saying one way or the other, a law enforcement spokesman said. Police reportedly are talking with the local Native American Commission to discuss what to do if the bones are confirmed to belong to an indigenous person. In 1901, a reservation was established for the Chumash, which now houses 5,000 people, the article said.
Holy cart, man. I'm getting shades of poltergeist here, They move the gravestones, but not the bodies kind of thing.
Yeah, well, word has it that the body part investigation is just the latest surrounding the couple's property. Cops have reportedly been called to the palatial spread 9 times in as many months. One intruder was arrested after driving all the way from Ohio to breach the mansion twice around Christmas.
Yeah, you gotta expect that stuff, though. People are always curious to see whether they eat Spam right out of the can.
Inquiring minds want to know, Mr. Keynes.
What they're in here for, only the devil knows.
The show for everybody, but not everybody will like it.
Fusebox.
Yeah, so we go from the lap of luxury to the ludicrous as we venture down into the nether regions of the U.S. for a journey to... I gotta say, our buddy Gregory sent this news item to us from the pages of Florida Politics magazine, and this one truly stunned me. Truly did. Well, for a second anyway.
Alligators are now employed at voting areas?
Well, I'm sure it was in a draft in some bill, yeah. A survey by Wallet Hub ranked the most patriotic states in the Union, all 50. And Florida came in dead last.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It says the only state worse than Florida was New York. Connecticut, Michigan, California, Illinois, New Jersey, Arkansas, West Virginia, and Texas rounded out the bottom 10.
Hell! Wait a minute, we're not in there?
No, we're not. And here's the joke. Oregon is ranked 9 in the list, evidently.
What? Wait, no. Texas is less patriotic than Oregon? Okay, I'm in some kind of jacked up timeline for sure, bro. I don't know what...
Well, here's the top 5. You have Montana, Alaska, Maryland, Vermont, and New Hampshire. The folks at Wallet Hub say their criteria may differ from what some people see as patriotism, even though findings overall found, of course, red states were more patriotic than blue states. Adam McCain from Wallet Hub says, in order to determine where Americans have the most red, white, and blue pride, Wallet Hub compared the states across 13 key indicators of patriotism. Our data set ranges from the state's military enlistees and veterans to the share of adults who voted in the 2020 presidential election, all the way to things like AmeriCorps volunteers per capita.
Wow. Well, I guess 1 + 1 does equal aardvark.
Optics, Mr. Keynes. Optics.
Dateline, Opalaka.
And here now, to restore your faith in what you spray is what you get, is this choice moment of instant karma as Michael Williams drove past a gathering in the yard of an Opelika, Florida home on a Sunday night. Police said his 10-year-old son fired a barrage of paintballs into the crowd from inside his father's van. It was the 10-year-old's idea, police later said. He'd asked his dad if he would take him on a drive-by shooting with his paintball gun. And Williams, 26, allegedly said, "Sure."
Yeah, as you would do. Yeah. I mean, what could go wrong?
But as the paintballs peppered the crowd, police said a resident named Gregory Barnes believed he and his family were under attack, and Barnes quickly fired one shot at Williams' van. After being struck with the bullet, police said the 10-year-old fell out of the van and was run over as the vehicle continued to move. Williams then scooped up the boy and put him back in the van and drove home, where the boy's mother called 911, according to a police report.
The boy's mother called 911. So he drove all the way home and then dialed 911.
Well, that's what they said, Mr. Gaines, yes.
Well, hell, he should have stopped to get the car washed while he was at it.
You know, I'm thinking he was just digging the colorful flourishes. You know, it's a nice design touch on the van there, you know? Opelika police later arrested Williams on a charge of child neglect with great bodily harm. In a police report, detectives allege the father acted recklessly by agreeing to conduct a drive-by paintball shooting. You think? The incident capped, unfortunately, a rather bloody outburst of gun violence in Miami that killed 3 and injured more than 30 people over that prior Memorial Day weekend. We must get these killers off the streets. We can only do it with your help, Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava said at a recent news conference addressing the shootings. We must break this cycle of violence.
Well, maybe you might want to stop putting guns in their hands then.
What? And take our completely fraudulent freedom to kill innocent people away? Never! Never! Madness, I say. Madness.
Dateline. Ocala.
So the semi-polite warning, no shoes, no shirt, no service, takes on a more bombastic meaning in this tale of whoa. Trina Kindred, 53, was arrested and charged for aggravated battery on law enforcement and felony criminal mischief at the Outback Steakhouse located at East Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala, Florida. Videos of the arrest circulating online show Kindred had climbed up on top of the restaurant's bar while naked and had been throwing bottles of alcohol, glassware, and other supplies moments before the arresting officers arrived.
Well, she was vegan.
Kindred seemingly ignored pleas from bystanders who had asked her to stop destroying the Outback Steakhouse property. The viral clip then jumps to the arresting officer's arrival and shows Kindred throwing glass at the male officer before she approaches him. The officer orders Kindred to get down 2 times before he fired a taser.
Yikes.
Yeah. According to the arrest affidavit, the arresting officer wrote that Kindred was incoherent when he arrived and had thrown 3 bottles at him before she was tased. One of the bottles reportedly made contact with his forearm. When Kindred finally got down on the floor, the arresting officer says she complied and was handcuffed. She was then transported to a local Advent Health Center for treatment. And also this. That's right. The dollar amount for the damages are currently unknown. However, the arrest affidavit estimates it could be in the thousands due to, quote, all the broken dishes, beer, and wine glasses, as well as all the alcoholic product that was either in broken bottles or to be disposed of because of the broken glass everywhere, unquote.
So there wasn't enough bloom in her bloomin' onion?
Who knows? The arrest report says that prior to Kindred's 12:30 p.m. arrest at the Outback Steakhouse there, she allegedly targeted the Mojo Grill and Catering Company in the area, also while topless. Yeah. She feels that the owner is not honest. She admitted that she attempted to enter the Mojo Grill, but was denied entry by the employees, the arrest affidavit states. After being denied entry, she began to flip tables. Following the incident at the Mojo Grill, witnesses told the arresting officer that Kindred tried to get into an unknown customer's car and drove, quote, recklessly in the parking lot before she departed the area. The arrest affidavit states it is unknown whether alcohol or drug influence played a role in Kindred's behavior.
Safe bet it wasn't Diet Coke.
Dateline. Miami.
Another yearbook alert.
This just seems to be a trend lately. I don't know what it is, but... So when seniors trickled back into West Broward High School recently to pick up their caps and gowns, they were told right then and there, by golly, that they couldn't get their yearbooks. Huh? That's right. West Broward High School's assistant principal ordered yearbook teacher David Fleischer to stop selling and distributing the yearbook because the Black Lives Matter spread in it was, quote, too politically one-sided. It's censorship, Elise Twitchell, Edge yearbook co-editor-in-chief, remarked. Twitchell was one of several editors who released statements sharing their disappointment in school administrators and the fact that it was over parent complaints about the Black Lives Matter spread is just appalling to me, she said. And that was on a Friday. By that following Monday, the district allowed the Edge to continue to distribute the yearbook, but this time with a letter from the school's principal inserted, reading, "Please note that as a governmental agency, the school board of Broward County must maintain a neutral stance on all political views," Principal Brad Fatout wrote in the letter. As such, any political views expressed in the 2021 West Broward Yearbook are not sponsored by the district.
A neutral stance on murder?
It is often bewildering, Mr. Keynes, to process the rather constipated river of sludge that masquerades as logic and reasoning in some of these situations. Fleischer, the yearbook teacher, was not happy with the letter, noting, quote, the letter was included without the knowledge of the Edge or its endorsement. The Edge believes the letter is offensive and dehumanizes the non-white students at West Broward and the entire Broward County School District, Fleischer wrote. In addition to student photos and other standard yearbook materials, the yearbook also included coverage of the 2020 presidential election, COVID-19, and the LGBTQ community. None of the other spreads were deemed too political by the district, according to Fleischer.
Yeah, but we don't live in a racist society, of course. Says right here on page 47 in the Aryan Manifesto of White Supremacy and Supreme Whiteness.
Well, and to that, Howard Wasserman, a law professor at Florida International University College of Law, said that while the school can control the content of student publications such as this, he's glad that the school district neither just stopped circulation of the yearbook altogether, nor insisted that there be content about Blue Lives Matter. What they did was just make explicit what I think everyone sort of knows already, which is that this is a student publication and it is not the school district speaking. Despite the Edge staff efforts, including trying to halt the distribution of the yearbook with the note included, the administration has not changed its stance, Fleischer said. I'm very, very proud of my students, and it's been a great learning experience for them. They've taken the helm. I'm really proud of how much they pushed this and how much they stood up for what they believe in, their publication and the student body.
Well, they're getting a lot of opportunities to stand up lately. Maybe that is a good thing.
Yes, it is. It is a good thing. I think it would be a much better thing if they didn't have to stand up for the truly obvious all the damn time, but so it goes.
It is funny how a lot of these administrations, they seem to run out of steam when it comes to enforcing the real issues, Like, Timmy, you shouldn't bring your Gatling gun to class. Save that for Thursday's show and yell.
It's a head-scratcher, Mr. Keynes. Simple common sense seems to be elusive for so many folks out there. It's again, and one more again. Why we have to ask. the pickled in brine and dry roasted to a crackly crunch question.
What the fuck, Florida?
Yes, and on that puzzling and somewhat quizzical note,
What note is that exactly?
I think it's X flat. Yeah. We will take our rusty toolbox with corroded hinges and our torn sack of mental health hammers and build a ramshackle carport out behind the dilapidated woodshed, but not before thanking our contributor to this edition of Fusebox, Myrna Reynolds, for uplifting ID pronouncement. Thank you, Myrna, wherever you are. Thanks as well to the farraginious feats of engineering and technical assistance provided by the Duke of Decibels over there, Milt Keynes.
Pleasure as always.
And of course, thanks most definitely to you, friends, for pushing play on this edition of Fusebox. We know, there are a lot of yapping heads out there vying for your time and attention, and we do so appreciate you spending it here with us.
Yeah, while you're feeling all gooey inside, why don't you just smash that subscribe button wherever you found it, and maybe even give us a review or a 97-star rating or whatever. Oh, and if you're lucky enough to be in the Salem, Oregon area, then you can catch us on Sundays at 6 p.m. on KMWV 98.3.
Indeed you can, and if you really want to help us out, you can listen to this guy.
Hey, it's as simple as pie. You go to thefuseboxshow.com and click on the shopping tab. And like flippin' magic, there you are. Oh, and if you're one of those book a face folks, click on the Shop Now button on the Fusebox Show Facebook page. Okay? Also, quick as a bunny. There you go. Enough said.
So true.
Indeed. So, I have been your polarity reversed and time aligned for better fidelity host, Mark Rose, saying, until our next cartoon.
Fusebox.